Welcome back, Coyotes. I'm Gavin Robertson.
And I'm Dylan Tinley. We have a special edition of CHSC. Today will be a filled show. The NBA is back, the NFL is going into the playoffs, and we have our college football champions. So pull up a seat and sit down because CHSC starts right now.
Later in the show, we will break down the AFC and NFC championship games, but now college football. The 2011-2012 college football season is officially over now that the BCS National Championship has been played. Now we bring you highlights of the All-State BCS National Championship when the Alabama Crimson Tide took on the LSU Tigers.
And then make those tackles pay a price.
AJ telling Trevor, we're going to get the end zone. We're going to get the end zone. Finally, Hader, the promised land, is number 3, bounces it outside. First touchdown Bama scored this year against LSU.
And this goes back to what Des said earlier. They started to kill the wheel of that defense. That defense could only make so many plays down in the red zone until finally it starts to work on them. They put a man on a man up front, and that's where the vision of Trent Richardson comes into play. He finds it finally to the outside, bounces it, and there's the burst to be able to get it to the touchdown.
And now in the building where Roberto Duran turned his back on Sugar Leonard and said no mas, LSU really could do nothing but wave the white towel here. 21-0, the first shutout in the BCS era. Excellent execution on that Gatorade bath. Saban, the first to win 3 BCS titles. And Alabama's won 2 out of 3. A defense that held opponents to 191 yards per game. Fewest in a quarter century, holds LSU to less than half that tonight, 92 total yards.
Well, we're going to remember this as a great defensive performance, but I really think that LSU's offense was inept. Their offensive line up front did not give Jordan Jefferson. It's so easy to point the finger at Jordan Jefferson and say, what was wrong with him? But that was a group effort from LSU's offense, and it had a lot to do with Bama and the pressure they put on him.
And the loss for a team that had been so dominant, 13-0 this season, a deflator at the end. It was also a team loss for LSU. Lots of people contributed.
Unfortunately, the Crimson Tide already lost to LSU earlier this season. Personally, I thought it should have been Oklahoma State and LSU in the championship, but Alabama are champions. And in that game, I think they should have started Jarrett Lee instead of Jordan Jefferson. As you saw in those highlights, Jordan Jefferson did not look like the quarterback of a national championship team.
The NBA return on Christmas Day. The NBA defending champions, the Mavericks, are off to a rough start, and Clippers fans like the duo of CP3 and Blake Griffin. But on the other side of LA, Kobe is carrying the Lakers with some impressive games, yet the Lakers haven't been winning as many games as they should be winning. And I think the chemistry is there for the Heat this season as they win some impressive games to start.
Now we will break down the championship games around the NFL. First, we got the AFC Championship, Baltimore Ravens and New England Patriots in New England. Who you got, Dylan?
I think I'm going to have to pick the Ravens, Gavin. I think if Joe Flacco can consistently throw the ball in the air to Anquan Bolden or Pitta or Evans, and if Ray Rice can find the holes and fight for extra yards, I think this Baltimore Ravens defense with Terrell Suggs, Ray Lewis, Ed Reed with an interception last game.
Yeah.
Ladarius Webb with 2 interceptions last game. And Haloti Ngata. I think they have a good enough defense to stop Tom Brady in this game. Enough to where they will win this game.
You mentioned Tom Brady. Let's pull up his stats against the Broncos right now. You see great completion percentage and 6 touchdowns. 5 of those in the first half. 3 of those to Rob Gronkowski, his star tight end. Speaking of tight ends, they put Aaron Hernandez, the backup tight end, in the backfield as a running back. He ran the ball like a power back, and it might confuse that Ravens defense, yet Ray Lewis is a good veteran. Defensively, the Patriots showed up against Tim Tebow, but Tim Tebow is an option quarterback, which is strange in the NFL, and Joe Flacco isn't. He's a pro-style quarterback, yet he didn't look too good against the Texans. He didn't throw any interceptions. He threw touchdowns, but his completion percentage was bad. And T.J. Yates for the Texans threw interceptions. That's the entire reason the Ravens won, because the Texans had the running game going with Arian Foster. They truly did. And T.J. Yates threw 3 interceptions, which on those 3 interceptions, the Ravens scored 2 touchdowns and a field goal, meaning out of the 20 points they scored, they only earned by the offensive themselves 3 points. So the Texans should have won that game. TJ Yates is a rookie. He'll learn. But Tom Brady ain't no rookie. He's a great quarterback, and I think he's going to take the momentum from that Broncos game to the next game and go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that game for the Ravens was not a good game defensively or offensively. You talk about turnovers. The Texans' punt returner might have been one of the stupidest plays in a year.
Yeah,
he touched the ball, and then they got the fumble, and they were at like the 2 or 3 yard line.
Yeah.
And, Joe Flacco has to come to play. Ray Rice has to come to play, and the Baltimore Ravens defense has to want to murder Tom Brady.
Yeah.
They have to want to get to him and make him in his head freak out and not be as accurate as he usually is.
Yeah, and you see, even in the regular season and in the playoffs, Tom Brady has had time in the pocket. You see this one play here, he had at least 5 seconds in the pocket, even more. He had time to throw. And if you give Tom Brady that much time to throw, he is going to make you pay. With Deion Branch, Wes Welker, Rob Gronkowski, and occasionally Aaron Hernandez. That's why I'm picking the Patriots.
Alright, now we're going to go to the NFC Championship games. The strange underdog game, the New York Giants who beat the Packers, and the San Francisco 49ers who beat the Saints. Gavin, who do you got?
Both of these teams were upsets coming into this game, even though San Francisco was the 2 seed, and they came out victorious. I'm going to pick the Giants because the way they went into Lambeau with that mentality that they're going to beat a 15-1 team, it worked. That defensive line is amazing. Yes, there was an injury to Chris Canty, but still, you see him in your JPP, Justin Tuck. They're just a hard group to stop. And yes, the Packers did drop 8 passes, but that secondary was really good. And offensively, the running game has to show up. I mean, in the first half, Ahmad Bradshaw getting stuffed on every play, Brandon Jacobs getting only 2 or 3 yards with his power. Second half, they started to run the ball, which was very effective and which helped Eli Manning. Yet I don't think Eli Manning needed any help in that game. He had some amazing numbers. Let's pull up his numbers now. He had 4 or 3 touchdowns, and some of them to Akeem Nicks, and he had a great game too, as you see on the Hail Mary right here before the half, which led the Giants to a 37-20 victory. Just the Giants looked like the Green Bay Packers of the regular season. And it's true. I mean, the Giants looking like a Super Bowl team. I'm picking the Giants.
It's hard for me to pick between these 2 teams because they both have great defensive lines.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have to go with the Giants. I'm gonna have to agree with you. I mean, when you look at Eli Manning, he proved that he is an elite quarterback in this league. He is now up there with his brother Peyton. He hit Akeem Nicks twice. He hit every single one of his receivers.
Yeah.
He didn't hit his tight ends that much this game, but if he hits those against the 49ers defense, the 49ers defense do have the #1 rush defense.
Yeah.
But that is rush. But the Giants, I think they have 2 good, great starting halfbacks.
Yeah.
They don't get tired because they alternate who goes. Like, Brandon Jacobs gets through the holes, Ahmad Bradshaw. Those guys are like brothers.
Yeah.
They do the same stuff just as well almost in every category.
Yeah.
And when you look at the New York Giants' offensive line and defensive line, they're going to dominate the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
And when they run the ball, the Giants, when they're going to run the ball, that will open up some holes for Eli Manning to throw the ball.
Yeah.
They can alternate. They can confuse this 49ers defense. The 49ers, they have a good defensive line, but they don't have a very good secondary. They have one They have one Pro Bowler, Carlos Rogers, but he's not starting. He's like third string in the backup. But he can only guard one of his good players. They have Victor Cruz, Manningham, Hakeem Nicks. He can only cover one guy.
Yeah.
He can't cover all three of them. And Eli Manning, that is just a great offensive squad. And that team showed it against the Packers.
And you bring up a couple great points. The offensive line. You have Justin Smith and Alden Smith. There's 5 guys on that offensive line, not just 2. So I'm picking the offensive line over the 49ers defensive line. In quarterback versus quarterback, I'm picking Eli Manning over Alex Smith. Alex Smith, they said, had one of the best games of the year. He didn't even throw for over 300 yards. He threw 3 touchdowns and had that option play that was to the left and ran for like a 20-yard touchdown. But you have to look for Harbaugh to have some extra plays up his sleeve to see what he can do against this defense. But I don't think they're going to be able to run against this defensive line. And if that defensive line does get to Alex Smith, it's gonna force turnovers, no doubt. He's gonna get trigger happy because he doesn't want to get hit by these guys. He's gonna throw into coverage, and Aaron Ross in that secondary might pick him off. And Eli Manning showed, I think, that the Packers secondary is a great one. Charles Woodson, Williams, and they tore him apart. So I'm picking the Giants pretty much in every category. Line, quarterback, secondary, wide receiver. Giants win.
I have to totally agree with you. I mean, if they stop Vernon Davis, and Frank Gore, they will have no threats on offense.
Yeah.
Alex Smith didn't even throw 300 yards, and it was his best game of the season.
Yeah.
That offense barely averages more than 150 passing yards per game. Alex Smith may have the least amount of turnovers, but he has one of the least amount of attempts to throw the ball.
Yeah.
He doesn't have very good completion percentage. He doesn't have a good wide receiver core at all. He has a tight end.
Yeah.
That's kind of sad. Michael Crabtree and Ginn are so inconsistent. Ginn is good on special teams, but he cannot catch the ball.
Yeah.
Michael Crabtree might be clutch like once out of 9 times. He cannot. That wide receiver core needs to have a better catching ability. I think in their draft, they're going to have to pick a wide receiver.
Yeah, Crabtree dropped many balls against the Saints, but Vernon Davis is a playmaker. 7 receptions for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns, and the game-winning one with 9 seconds in regulation to beat the Saints. But I don't think it's going to be enough. The Giants are hot coming in from Green Bay, beating the best team in the league.
They are pumped up. They want to win. They want to destroy everything in their path, and they will with that defensive line.
And I think it's going to be a Giants-Patriots rematch, the 2007 Super Bowl when the Patriots went 18-0 and lost 17-14 to the Giants. And that's my Super Bowl prediction. That's it for today. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at CHSC_1. Leave your AFC and NFC championship picks on our Twitter page or on our Facebook page at Calavera Hills Sportscast. Again, I'm Gavin Robertson.
And I'm Dylan Tinley. See you next time, Coyotes. Hope you've enjoyed this special edition of CHSC. Bye.